more of like a panelist setup.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to run slides on here as well? Okay. Okay. So we'll move a little forward so that.
Oh, hey, I got it to work. And amongst all 3 PMs. Just in time for someone to call me again. Hello?
There you are.
Let me just check.
Hey, Roger, you here? Alright, we're coming. Wait, actually, Ryan, so sorry. Actually, you can go straight to there's a, you'll find Zara. She's chilling on the first floor. Yeah, Zara will let you up. She's probably standing. Yeah, she'll let you up. Okay, perfect.
Can you sign this out?
might just be so we're gonna and please feel free to help with the camera room. Definitely we're no experts, but we can move the table around a little bit, and then I was thinking the banner can move a little bit too.
Yeah. Or you can you move one of the banner, right? Because right now, camera can only show one. I don't know. Back a little bit, I guess.
Are you gonna do live?
No, they did live last time, but I think they're just recording and upload it.
Wow, too good.
Feel good?
I feel good because it's not my event. Less pressure, Just chill.
Where's Katie? Did she show up yesterday?
No.
She's MIA then.
Yeah, it's so hard to reach her. Maybe she's counting every time she reach out to us, how many texted she have, how many WhatsApp messages. Yeah, we need someone to take care of our for tech community thing, like tech event, tech week. Casey seems pretty busy. I don't know how it's doing.
Yeah, well, we need to talk about the event next week.
Yeah, so the event is basically maybe you can talk to
Yeah.
here.
After this.
What I assume, I probably want to start off with a little intro, why I wanted to do that, and then Casey can take over.
Did you guys have a chance to talk to Sophie? What? No, not yet. Maybe something you guys should do.
Yeah. The only guy is coming is Prashant, so I'm actually ready to harass, ready to tell him shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck off, man. I don't want that event to same as what he did last time. Take the spotlight. That guy is pissing people off.
He's a salesperson.
I am a salesperson. Yeah, sales for Uma. You don't necessarily need to be doing bullshit like that. He's not doing any good for that. He's in the blacklist for brand protection. He's literally harassing people. Yeah. So be careful. He's not good with females.
Yeah. These are good events.
Luckily, I'm not an investor.
Not a no, you're not a founder.
I'm not founder.
Yep. It's a pretty small community here, so once you go to the few events,
Pretty good. How about you?
the questions that they expect me to know. That's what I thought. Never did it.
I don't know, I just feel like
What's your what I was already
It was a startup. Now we acquired by.
no, I'm also here. You're basically I'm not.
I'm problem manager. I work for a company called I've been working in this Are you
Good, how are you? Good. We I'm glad we were with you this time. Yeah.
Sorry about last time. Last time it was because 150 people.
That probably is. That was the first conference. This time we only got around like 80. We did almost everything.
Same.
Hey, how are you? My name is Ryan. What's your name? Okay. This is my show. Sorry, we're just cybersecurity.
Yeah, I'm a product manager. Been a product manager for 8 years now. I'm an engineering Probably 7 years. When they were doing then they got acquired by a larger company called the work team that I'm with right now is pretty big. Just the product manager, there's a 30 product managers. And then my engineering team is the one that I work with. Between 2 engineering teams, both have like 7 others including Ray. Yeah, that's what I am. It's, yeah, good to I do one analysis. I'm more of an API. That's what
So we think have you assigned any tasks to the volunteers?
Yep. So, I probably kept you out of it, but I was we have this whole thing here.
Oh, awesome.
As volunteers, which I didn't want to spam you, so I already told everyone what they need to do.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, everyone's good. Yeah, Zara, Malik stands at the door. That's me and Meg. Just help with telling people their names, name tags. And then Sherry's just gonna watching this later. Yeah, everyone's good. The one thing I just need to make sure is where in the world is our room?
I can see the difference in market share and things like that. We have about 2% market share. This company has 77% market share. So,
Hey, there is someone who has not registered who wants to come in.
Who is it?
He's with Stu.
he left me when I joined. And the only people who like $100 mistake and nothing just make sure you like the mistakes are expensive. But they give us the time to plan and not always But what we did, like having 2% market share with 1/30th of a team is also a big deal. Not competitive. I mean, I've been only there for 6 months. That's one thing. But I think everybody has time to prepare. I haven't seen like crazy deadlines. There are busy times of the year, but there are crazy deadlines or not everything is working as a work overtime. The deadline thing. Things have been planned well enough. We know that the busy time is coming and we made capacity to work on that 3 months before. So that's the plan. That's what I've seen so far. There's like a lot of supporting folks as well. When I was in the previous company, I was like, they were doing this. Doing that. So when the code is done, we tested, putting it in production was also kind of part of my. I mean, we had DevOps engineers, but I had to coordinate and take it through. Whereas here, I don't do that. So I joined. The thing that I'm working on now has nothing to do with what's going in production today because I was done with that 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. And somebody else took it forward and I'm already working on it. The only thing I am working on right now is
but I really need to help you.
because there's all these support
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe that
Let's say if you guys
yeah, it was like fall.
I do that. I come to find out what you're working on.
But yeah, I'm just here to learn. So
Yeah, I mean, and obviously there's a lot of competition because, so there's like company vision, company goal of what we're doing this year. We're not starting from scratch, right? We have an existing product. So we need a lot of work to what our competition is doing, learning ideas, thinking about ideas, improving on that, what to do differently. It's a lot of the competition is coming on.
So hopefully I'll be able to like
Let's get us to the door. That's where we are. 0.01
yeah, you have it.
we are number 2.
No, I kind of like interested.
Yeah.
So I was like lucky enough to be able to structure. But yeah. No, like a business analyst because I was like,
I've lived a couple of important days in the calendar.
yeah, that's what I kind of get, but it's really kind of about it. I did.
I work for a company called Rocky.
It was like a month. That would be That might be a good. Did you interview? No. I heard it's really tough though. I was thinking about that. Yeah, like
Yeah, because you can.
that's crazy.
Oh, yes, I'm a product manager at I work for the reporting center. I was with her this afternoon. She's here at Vancouver.
Because I was thinking, like when we have second year stuff, they're probably gonna go for, they're going to go for the
She's my man.
So those are a little bit so I'm like theory for those right now. And then definitely
I am 6 months.
no startup stuff.
No, it's not because I'm not reporting to Archana, so it's not me. But I know who. Yes, but I don't know who might have potentially. Sorry. Small world. Yeah.
So we're trying to get governance since they are not aware of benefits or so we are just trying to make sure that AI engineers they remain compliant because government is also working to make laws so that so yeah. We just want to make sure that how many times we are very helpful
I don't know what to do yet, but you're
yeah, they are wired, so we are just trying to incorporate AI because what we're saying is like Canada, US, they are still going to make some
I think it's hard to work. Reminds me. So you're the owner of that startup? Like, what's your global
so right now I'm running a so I
Startups are really fun. I was always thinking that there's a lot of funding out there, especially for like tech startups. I didn't realize that until
But I have recently moved into Vancouver early this year, so I'm very new and I don't have much connection, so I'm just going all those events that I find. And yeah, sure. Going to add all of you.
how does that work right now? Like, are you guys? Is it like paid, or is it right now just like? Like working on it yourself.
Really good.
This is like with the new hiring. Is it also going to be just like the working details and then later when you guys get That's fun. This is also boring to me. This is so exciting. How long did you work? Wow, that's a lot of fun. That's gonna be fun. Yeah, I was like thinking like, oh my gosh, everyone has a startup. I should like have ideas. So you're aiming for like the year before. I've heard of that. Yeah, the year positions I've heard they're really competitive. So congratulations on getting in
Is there a tech component to
Yeah, I just had like my first ever interview, like first screening. And like I was so overwhelmed because I was like, there's so many questions I haven't answered. So it was the business model. It's IT languages. It's like a vertical. Yeah. So I was like, I'll take any experience. Yeah, like a little bit overlapping, we'll see. But yeah, I think it's so popular about it. I was also like, let's try to look at like all the things they have on their website. But like the financial thing is a really starting position, like to look at that.
Oh, we moved it back. Oh, I see.
Yeah,
So we
I
have
think
both the randoms covered.
Sherry is definitely, she's got some talent there. I think she did that. Do you want to ask her to like just...
Oh, to like just watch it? Yeah, I'll grab a seat later, like right in the middle here, for her to just sit
Okay.
and just watch it.
Oh yeah, no, watching is fine. I think we just need a few like photos of the event.
Oh yeah, I'll ask her. Yeah.
So I was just working on cricket. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the sport of cricket, right? So I am a huge fan of cricket. I'm from India. And so it was interesting. I think for the first time in about 12 years, I was on cricket. As a fan, I did this was industry just because it's not very mainstream this time. But this company is planning to support for cricket. And it's very different, right? Because it's versus this team plays and so this man. So this approach is really complex for others to understand. So it took me a while. Even though I knew exactly what to do, because I very close to explain because it's a very alien sport for me. Actually, my engineering is so you know that there are some sort of
Actually, that's really interesting. That's what someone told me. I think it was She told me like, oh, I have like a portfolio of like products, something, and I think it's
and I don't even have I want to design like being a huge fan, design like a sexy sport.
I gotta look into that.
Oh yeah. So I actually thought about
Oh, that's very sad. Make it sound like you graduated.
One version is 2 innings and one version is
I'm excited.
there's no market this time. So slowly for the last year, so you're learning to compare. It makes no sense. Like, because you have to show both in each sport. But there is no reason behind why today to show. So we only show the last year's sport. It makes no sense, but at least it doesn't make it happen to happen today. So I have to kind of break my mind. Let me design it the wrong way first, because it matches what is expected to be, and then I'll design it another way.
Oh, I know her! That's so funny. I was just in a meeting with her. Yeah, she's great, she's great. So she's gonna... That's so fun. Yeah, she was my... Yeah, and then I'm going into that position. So I'm in that position right now. So she got
Something like that. So that's
also like... I don't know, I never... But it's
So that's why he would have just signed it And they have to support, that's all I can say. They're not yeah, so they can be many segment I know that I think after when I was 10 and I hate myself at 20 years, so 20 now is different from the last 10 years. we have a young team. I love watching them. Right in there, I hate saying that, but I love watching them play. But doesn't mean I'm happy with them. I think United winning, drawing 2-0 down the field gives me eternal insight. So
Spots here.
I get very passionate when it comes to sports.
You there? Like near the aisle there? Oh yeah, sure. Here. Yeah, you're right.
Are you like talking about project management or product management? That makes sense. You have both. Yeah, makes
That's safety net, so that's
Can we just focus on the book that
You've cracked that level of efficiency. That means
Oh my God.
I'm going to ask everyone to start moving to their seats and sit down because we are a little bit over time. We just need to get started. There's only one keynote presentation this time, but we just want to move fast so that we can have networking, at least an hour to network with everyone at the very end. So if everyone can just start moving to their seats, I just need to make a few introductions and then we can start with our keynote presentation.
Bro, you're everywhere.
I have a card. Sure.
Do you want to steal some?
Sure.
That's amazing.
Are you like graduating from school?
Good to see you.
Likewise, man.
I'm a designer.
The only time I get to see you.
I know.
No, I just like to network, you know, just chatting with people, you know, who do similar stuff, but in different
So did everyone get a chance to get a bite to eat, grab some drinks? Look, it's like 25 degrees outside, there's beaches all around the city, and you're here with us instead, learning about PM, so I appreciate it, all right? So give a round of applause for everyone, I appreciate you coming out. It's summer, it's July, and I can't believe you're here, so great turnout today. We're all nerds today in this room. So just to get started, this is PM Buzz 2.0, welcome again. Today we wanted to kick it off, not with buzzwords, you throwing around the word AI all the time, because I know last time we did it, we got like 150 registrations, and I know what you're coming out for, the AI word. This time around though, we wanted to make it a little bit different and shine a spotlight on the other PMs. When we think PM, we think product, right? But there are other PM disciplines in the world here. We have the program management side of things / technical program management, and then we have projects. So first of all, that's kind of the topic or the main theme we're gonna have today with our keynote presentation as well as our panelist discussion. Super exciting. And then we're just gonna end it off with very casual, just networking around. We got a lot of people for that. We have a lot of both extroverts, and I'm sure it's gonna carry some conversations here and then, so don't worry about that. And then we're gonna get started. One thing to note is that there is a big shine going on, so if you're on the guys over there, probably getting some good sun, so make sure you don't get tanned. All right, we're gonna get started here. Oh, and before we get started, we are streaming this, so just making sure that, you know, for the folks that we unfortunately had to just turn down because of the capacity or whatever, you can always obviously catch the entire conversation here with my little camera. So, quick shout out first of all, thank you Shreyansh and Cater Dash for having all the food available today, so just everyone give a round of applause. He's always in the back just with his arms crossed, but he did a lot of work. By the time we arrived to this campus at like 5:25, he already had the food laying there, like what in the world? What are you doing? Second of all, the food wouldn't have been possible in the first place without Jam.dev, the one-click solution developers love. They offered to provide us $200 as a sponsorship to have this event and to have that food in the first place. So another round of applause for there, even though there's no representation for them here, but I'm sure they're gonna watch this live stream. We repost their stuff on social media all the time, so it's gonna be perfect. And then finally, of course, Northeastern University. I know you folks all the way in the desk over there, probably not paying attention, but thank you. Appreciate us having here, being hosted. For probably the nth number of time, because we're going to be back here quite often as long as you don't charge us. And of course, actually I wanted to shout out the Vancouver design community too, because there is a LinkedIn headshot event going on next Wednesday. Aram, where are you? So Aram here is one of the organizers of Vancouver design community, so you can chat with her after. There's super cheap headshots that's going on, so just check Loom on Wednesday night. If you need your LinkedIn profile to be split up with a little bit of splash, we got a pretty nice photographer there for their event. Okay, so real quick, I'm just gonna point out a very basic agenda here. It's gonna be, again, we have the keynote presentation featuring Riot. I'll let you do the introductions later yourself, so I'll go over that real fast. And then we're gonna have the panelist discussion. We're gonna have a product, project, and a program manager featured here. And we're gonna have a thorough, deep discussion about the differences, the complications, and the nuances, all right? So then we're gonna end it off Friday night, you know, keep it casual, make it a networking thing, and then just have a great rest of the night doing that. We will have to leave by 9 though, because we only have the event booked until 9. So just be mindful of that. We're gonna probably start organizing and cleaning up around like 8:45-ish. All right, with that being said, Ryan, you're up next. Everyone give a round of applause while we set this up.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Awesome. Thank you so much for coming out today. A lot of faces, a lot of new faces. I remember I went to the first VM Hive event at a coffee shop, and look at this now. This is amazing. My name is Ryan Budisuman. I work as a senior technical program manager at HP. I have 7 years of experience, predominantly in project management, program management. I also had a brief stint as a product manager. My background is in electrical engineering, and I have a master's in engineering management. I live in this beautiful city of Vancouver, and I have some free time. I'm out hiking, enjoy the beautiful outdoors, or smoking my barbecue. So, why are we all here today? We're here to learn about project management versus program management versus product management. I have a question for the audience. How many people here are product managers? Raise your hands. All right, nice. How many of you folks are technical or non-technical program managers? Okay. How many of you guys are project managers? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Oh, this one right here. You sir, what is your name? Ken. Hi, nice to meet you, Ken. I have a question for you. This is a technical question. Every project manager should know this. Are you ready? Sorry?
I'm not a project manager.
You're not a project manager. You just said raise your hand.
So, your question was, you know, project manager.
You still might be able to answer this. Why did a project manager bring a ladder to a meeting? Because it's high level. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a stand-up. I'm kidding. How many of you guys know the differences between these roles? Kind of, sort of, or that maybe does? Okay. So that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to do a deep dive. Well, no, we're going to keep it high level. We're going to talk about the different roles, what they do, what a day-to-day looks like, and we're going to end by talking about how do you get into one of these roles. Sounds good? This is a quick litmus test. We have these roles in our companies where we work at. How do you know if this person is a project, product, or program manager? You can identify that by figuring out how they annoy you. A product manager, the way they annoy you, they should be like, all right, what we should be building next. They also keep asking the question, why are we building it? Technical program managers, on the other hand, they focus on how do we build this? The last one, but not least, project manager, they're also concerned about how do we build this, but they keep asking me, when will this be ready? When is this feature coming in? Let's talk about the product manager role. The main thing that they are concerned about is the what and the why. They're there to define what we're going to do, what we're going to build, and why we're building it, right? They are the CEOs of the product. They define the vision. So in your company, whatever product there is, there's a product manager out there thinking about what does the roadmap look like right now, 5 years, 10 years. They decide on the different priorities. So you have your 1 to n list priorities, however way you define them, there's that product manager, technical or whatever, a product manager out there defining them. They do a lot more than that too. The way they define the priorities and what we're going to build is they do a lot of research into what are the competitors doing? How do we differentiate ourselves from the different competitors? What do they have that we don't have? Or what can we do to add more value to our customers? They talk to a lot of customers, they get feedback. So this is like a very high level summary of what a product manager will be doing. On the job, what does the day-to-day look like for these people? You'll be writing something called a PRD, a product requirement document. In order to do that, again, a lot of analysis and work goes into it. You'll be aligning with design teams and many other teams as well. What will the product look like? Are we going to make this page all blue, purple, yellow, whatever that may be? You'll be setting up the priorities, defining the acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria is like the dev team does it before we ship it out. How do we know it's acceptable? The product manager sets those rules. once you build it and ship it out, their job is not done. They go back and get feedback. All right, what we've given you, do you like it? Is it good? So they gather data, and they gather qualitative and quantitative data. Quantitative data would be like numbers. Qualitative would be like vibes. What do you get out of it? Good vibes, bad vibes. So this is product manager in a nutshell. Moving on from there, we're going to talk about the TPM, the technical program manager or program managers. What do they focus on? So now you have a vision. Someone set that out for you. We know what we're building. We know what the priorities are. How do we build it? That is the role of technical program managers. These people, they are the CEO of the product. Their job is to execute the vision. And they own the overall execution, all the way from ideation to delivery. And delivery is to the customers, not in your low stacks like Pi and Stage or whatever you may have it internally. Once the customers have it, there you go, I've delivered. They own the overall program scope and timelines. Now, if you're technical, you will be involved in system architecture as well. Any change that comes in, like how does it impact our current architecture? It is expected of the TPM to go ahead at least design the high-level system architecture, define the different components. You also have the fun job of creating the program milestones delivery. Because the product manager comes like, hey, this is what we're going to build. You can't build everything in day one, so you have to come up with achievable, realistic milestones and set realistic expectations and let the product manager know, based on our current system and capacity and whatever else, this is what we can deliver. Yeah, VP, set out? Yeah, you can do that. And here are the milestones, here are the delivery dates. You also have to look into the functional and non-functional requirements. So when we talk about functional requirements, an example would be like, we want a button to be displayed. You have to think about the non-functional too, such as, all right, how fast will the user be able to move to the next page? 0.001 milliseconds. You need to have an uptime, I don't know, 99.99%. Whatever you have in that page should be privacy compliant, should meet all the security compliance as well. So there's a lot of NFRs, non-functional requirements you have to think about as well. Now, what does a day-to-day look like? On the job, you'll be setting direction, strategy. You'll be talking to many asset or project teams to get the product delivered. You have to anticipate roadblocks. Not just anticipate them, you have to find out mitigation strategies as well. Like, all right, this is that coming up, how do I mitigate it? You have to create program cadences. This is a fun one. You're dealing with 10, 12 different asset teams. When I say asset teams, you might call them Scrum teams. You might call them project teams. How do you guys do documentation? How do you guys meet up? How do you guys talk about blockers? What happens when you have defects? What does the escalation path look like? We all work in scrums, 10 different teams. What do we do now? We have something called scrums. What are these capabilities? You define them. Another important role is to track metrics. How do you know you're winning? How do you know where the status of your program is? Because you need to know at every step, are we delivering for our customers? So you have to have the fun job of coming up with these KPIs. Now they, key performance indicators, they differ from program to program, and you have to define them. The last one I put down is, mostly TPMs, they're 30,000 feet in the program. But if there are issues, you need to do a deep dive. And you need to have enough technical knowledge to do that deep dive to figure out what the issues are, challenges are, at least to do that high-level triage to figure out which team of the 15 or 20 different teams should be owning it. Now, let's talk about project managers. They also work with the how. Now, if you look at these bullet points, you probably think I copied and pasted on the previous slide, which you kind of did. They're very similar. They focus on executing the project scope. They define the project scope and timelines. They focus on the low-level architecture. From the high-level architecture, they focus on like what impacts my service. I'm going to go ahead and create sequence diagrams. The key difference between the two roles is scope. Oh, sorry. Apologies. So the key difference between a technical program manager and a project manager is scope. Project managers have a well-defined smaller scope. The good thing is you have a set end date and you get to move on to the next project and the next project and the project after that. Programs usually align with business and overall organization goals. Could be multi-quarters, could be multi-year programs. Projects tend to be a little smaller than that. Most TPMs start off as a project manager, project coordinator, and move on to the technical program manager role. All right. I told you about technical program manager, product manager, project manager. Let's do something fun. Let's build a plane. You sir over here. What kind of plane are we building? What's your favorite kind of plane? That's a big plane. Okay. How many engines does it have? 4 engines. How many seats? 92 seats. What color? Blue color. This man here is our product manager. He just defined the requirements. We're going to build a Boeing something with 92 seats, 4 engines, and it has to be blue. Right? What are we going to build after that? Another plane, helicopter? Sorry, lunches? A mini kitchen? Inside plane? Oh man.
What does it mean?
Fine, we'll accept that requirement too.
Is it data?
So you see this gentleman here setting these requirements? That's what a product manager does. Now here, if this gentleman was a program manager, you'd be like, all right, now I have to figure out how to build this plane, a Boeing with 4 engines and whatever else. He will get all the different teams involved. He will identify, all right, we need wheels, we need engines, we need wings, and each of these components will have a project manager. Does that make sense? Does that make sense for you folks? Does that tie up the different roles we talked about? I see some nodding. Any questions, comments? All right, none. That's amazing. We talked about the differences, we talked about the roles, we talked about a very simple plane analogy. Let's talk about what they all share. This lovely Venn diagram, the way they intersect, you guys see this? In the center, they all care about the product, about the customer, what we're building, what we're shipping. They have some commonalities as well, and I've listed them out here. But again, the core thing they all share is what we're building and delivering to the customer. This is a fun one. How do we break into a PM role? Whether it would be program managers, product managers, or technical program managers. How many folks here are aspiring PMs? Could be any one of those 3. Show of hands, please. That's amazing. How many of you guys want to switch to the different kind of PM? Oh, nobody. Everyone's like happy with their PM jobs. All right. First of all, this is mainly catered toward a tech PM role, like in a software company. You want to master the basics. What does that mean? SDLC, Software Development Lifecycle. You want to know what are the different components to build a software, what are the different steps. And you can apply this to any industry. For example, if that gentleman there wants to go into the automotive industry, being a PM, he'll want to know what are the different steps to build a car. This man wants to build a Boeing. So he wants to know, he'll have to know the different steps it takes to build a plane. So that's one thing. Another thing you want to know is what are the different methodologies or frameworks being used. So software or anything can be built in many ways. The common ways you build software these days are, you probably heard of waterfall and agile and extreme programming. There are different frameworks as well within them. For example, agile has Scrum, Kanban, many others. You also want to know what are the most commonly used industry tools out there. Conflict, Atlassian products like Jira, or PM, or PlanView, or Microsoft projects. You need to know the tools as well. Get some online certifications. Start off with the free ones. Start off with Udemy, LinkedIn, and And then later on, you might want to get a Certified Scrum Master, CSPO, PMP, ITIL, CSM, the Certified Scrum Master. It's a very easy degree to certification to get. It really helped me break into the Scrum Master role. I started off my career as a BSA, move on to Scrum Master, then a project manager, product manager. So having that background, talking the same language, having the same certification, it does help. Regardless of the kind of PM you want to do, communication is very important. You'll be talking to many, many, many stakeholders, and you should be able to portray very challenging concepts, either technical to technical folks, you want to speak the business language to business folks, so communication skills are key, both written and verbal. You want to gain relevant experience. Now, this is a bit challenging. How do I break into PM role if I don't have PM experience? In the current company or role that you are in, try to play a leadership role inside those projects. You be the lead in those roles. No one's giving you that role, you take that on. You take on many tasks. You find out what happens after your task is done. How can I help that team as well? Talk to other PMs internally, right? See how you can help them. Try and follow someone, try and shadow them. Find volunteer opportunities. If you're in school, it's very easy to find different projects and programs running within the university and see how you can help there. Network and build your brand. You guys are here on a Friday. Talk to other folks, figure out where they work, see what kind of programs and projects are they running. What you want to do is sell yourself. How can you help that company or fill that XYZ position? Learning and development, that never stops. New tech is being released all the time. Someone said about AI, right? ML. Figure out what they are and keep yourself updated at all times. Learn system design, that's a fun one. Any kind of TPM position, you will have a system design interview. They'll tell you, all right, build me XYZ app. What does the system design look like? And then they'll poke holes in your design. And you have to go and kind of defend it. We touched on methodologies and tools, that's quite important as well. Number 5, start targeted job search. If you're brand new, never broken into the PM, I would suggest start off something with a BA or BSA, business analyst, business system analyst, project coordinator, and then move on to the other PM role. Tailor your resume. Make sure you showcase how you led projects within the current role that you have. You want to showcase leadership. You want to showcase communication. I want to end by saying, opportunities don't happen, you create them. If I was able to break into TPM, you'll be able to do the same as well. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, thank you. I want to open up the floor to the audience if you guys have any questions or any comments from me. No? All right then. Oh yes, you. Hi.
How do you differentiate between the product owner role in agile teams versus a product manager role? I saw a lot of overlap in the daily job description.
Yeah.
So how do you separate the two?
So product owner is a role defined within the Scrum framework, right? Different companies treat them differently, right? They are essentially product managers, but at least the company where I work at, they're mainly responsible for, product manager is mainly like a director level position, right? And from there on, once they define the entire vision, we have product owners in charge of Scrum teams, right? And then we write in different user requirements, the acceptance criteria, by getting direction from the product manager. Again, PO is just a role defined within Scrum. Any team member should be able to do it, but it just comes down to hierarchy, at least in the company that I'm at. Thanks. Anyone else? Hi. Sure.
Product managers need strategy.
Yeah.
And product owners need execution.
Thank you, Dosu. Really appreciate that. Dosu works as a PM.
I just want to know, seeing as you have quite a bit of experience, what's one piece of advice you'd have if you were starting over this again? Best navigate your career.
One piece of advice I had if I want to start all over again. Maybe break into the role a little earlier, because I waited. I'm like, I need to have the right certification. I need to have the right experience. I started a little earlier. And the way I would do that is start internally. Internally, it's a lot easier to make that switch. And the way I would make that happen is talk to the different PMs. See if I could shadow them. Like, hey, I know you're leading this project. Can you tell Tyson, can you mentor me in order to find out what the end-to-end project or program looks like? Learn from them and try and move into their team as soon as possible. Instead of thinking like, hey, I need to have XYZ degree, XYZ certification, XYZ amount of experience. Anyone else? Hi.
Yeah, so our TPMs usually in like a larger scale company. So for example, if you're at a startup, it's usually just product manager, UX or UI, design, and then you have software developers, which typically take care of the job of a TPM.
A TPM usually handles large scale programs, right? And usually in startups, I haven't worked in a startup, but from what I know, you get to wear multiple hats. So maybe you may not need a TPM because you'll have like one thing, one product that you're working on and you want to ship. So the same guy writing the code will probably work as a PM, probably work as a product manager. So you wear multiple hats in a startup. So if you want to go for a TPM role, it's ideal to go for a larger company that you know has a lot on the plate that would need someone to manage large-scale programs that has at least 15 or 10, greater than 10 project teams. Hi.
Hey, I've got a question. So you mentioned that going to technical program manager, one of the ways to do that is actually from project manager.
Yeah.
My question would be, project manager is not a technical role, and technical program manager is a technical role. When, at which point you get that technical skill?
So, if you don't want to go to a TPM role, there's another role called PM. They're just called program managers. So if you're focused on the business side of things, we also have PMs or program managers in certain companies.
Okay. My question is more about your experience. Did you have this technical background or you learned it while working?
So when I worked as a project manager, my title at that time was a technical project manager. So I always worked on technical programs and projects, so it was easier for me to get in. I did study electrical engineering. It didn't really help me as much in the interviews, so I had to learn a lot on system design. So I took courses, I read a few books, I practiced a lot of those interview questions. And if you want, I can recommend those books to you as well. Yeah, because system design was one area I'm not familiar with. Because as a project manager, no one tells you, like, hey, Ryan, go ahead and design the system, right? That's something we rely on the architects for, right? Or even at the project level, the platform architects usually do the high-level design, and then we'll get a component, right? And I'd have to understand the low-level design, right? But I was never really involved in that stage. But whereas the TPM, you are involved as soon as the program is, or at least the direction is created. All right, we're going to focus on the architecture. What changes are there? What kind of database are we using? Why are we going to build versus buy? And you have to have your input and lead those discussions as well, right? So yeah, I will recommend some courses that really helped me and some books as well. Anyone else? If not, thank you so much for listening to me.
I know you just sat down, but I would like to invite you, Divya and Arib, for a panelist discussion to talk about the differences between product, program, and project. How about that sound? Let's do it. Take a seat. So I don't think this panelist discussion will probably last the full hour. So typically when you look at the full hour, it can be a little bit daunting. You're like, oh my God, it's going to be a super boring discussion for 1 hour. But this time around, we're going to make sure that we have a chance for those of you who, as you're listening in, I'm sure there's going to be questions coming top of mind, right? So that's the opportunity for you to source those questions to us. But first and foremost, first of all, I'd like to everyone knows already who Riot is, but just a quick opportunity for Divya and Arif to kind of introduce themselves. So there's 2 mics there. We're going to be sharing them. Feel free to just grab one of them. You just have to press the button to make the light green and go from there.
Hi everyone, my name is Divya. I work as a technical product manager at a company called Quadrant AP, and I am 6 years old in Canada now, and I have transitioned into a product manager role from being a software consultant to a QA, and this is my 4th year as a product manager.
And just a quick FYI, Divya's podcast episode is actually on Spotify. So I interviewed her on her journey of how she broke into product. She has gone through so many development roles and other tech jobs. So I'm sure we're gonna, if we get to the chance, we might go there. But yeah.
Hey everyone, nice to see you guys. Quick shout out to the founders first. Great setup, and thank you for having me. And secondly, before I get into it, I heard the podcast. You should. She's gone through a lot. It's exciting to hear. So my name is Arif. I am a mechanical engineer. Worked for 5 years in the industry in the United Arab Emirates before I came here to Canada. I am also PMP certified. I had also co-founded a e-commerce platform company in the UAE, which I mean it's still running, but it's on the down low now because I moved here, and yeah, I'm right now working as a project coordinator in a company in North Van called Total Parking Solutions, and I am also still a student, so I'm pursuing MBA right now in my final semester.
Awesome. So thank you for the introductions. We're going to jump right into it. The first question, and I'm sure maybe some of y'all probably have heard of or have seen at least a nuance of this, is what is so funny? Might be happening a lot today. Well, that's great. So the first question really is kind of for Riot. I'm going to kind of go start with you, and then we're going to do a little bit of a round table here. Riot, I know you've worked not just the TPM role, but I believe you've also worked the project management role. Correct me if I'm wrong. So just from your experience, like, what do you feel like kind of stands out as a TPM, and do you feel like you're enjoying your current role now compared to the project?
I love my new role compared to like a project manager. You have a lot more impact, more large-scale impact. As a project manager, you own a specific component, you deliver that, but you don't get to really see the impact reach the audience. As a TPM, you're shipping out these large programs, and there's millions of users, and I really like the fact that I'm able to reach so many different people, and my impact is huge. So I love that. So that's a job for me.
Interesting. And Divya, you're a product person right now, but I know for a fact you've transitioned here through a plethora of different other roles. So a quick opportunity for you to just give your, explain your journey to everyone, because some people are probably curious how you broke into product, right?
I think so. So I started my career 12 years ago. I joined as a systems engineer, so I was basically working on the back end. I was good at RDBMS, so I was working in database migrations for my first company. So there as well, like the journey was, you know, being just a part of the project and like figuring out tech at that point in time. Then I moved on to a storage company. I used to work for EMC Square. So in that company, that was my first chance of understanding how systems interact with each other, because that was like their first thing, that making a software talk to a hardware. So that was different, but like my previous experience added, because there was a lot of data transition between. So that's where I stepped in, and I was a systems engineer with EMC Square as well. So post that, because I was dabbling in a lot of transitionary work, I moved on to software consulting. So I was with a company called ThoughtWorks. It's a North American based company, and there I typically just started as like, you know, a contributing QA to one of their projects. And like within a year or so, because we were going through consulting training, I was doing tech consulting full time with them. So like customers on site understanding what their business needs are, transitioning them back to the team on our base. We wanted to leverage that knowledge, and I joined in as a QA lead. So then I came here, like did the groundwork, hired a team, and with that, because I was already in the transition, I got to understand the product a lot better, and that was in like the initial stages when it was not quite large. So that was the right spot to understand how fintech is specifically. So the product I right now work with is basically automating processes for accountants. So like every day to just understand how can I do better with product, I got the opportunity to talk to accountants, CFOs, our general customers who come on board and get hired. So that experience translated into getting an opportunity in a PO role. So I tried it, I liked it. I went to product school for 3 months, and then that's how I transitioned into a PM role.
Awesome. Thank you for the introduction. No, that's great. I think everyone's more familiar with your entire journey that way. And Arif, my question to you, I'll be honest with you, is first of all, from being a co-founder, or you said founder, right, of your own organization back in the UAE.
Yeah, but we were a bunch of people working together in different roles. So I was kind of the face of the organization and the money as well.
So I guess from that standpoint, you transitioned into being a project manager, project coordinator. Like, what did you feel like kind of allowed you to stand out and kind of move to Canada and then get that new job?
So, first of all, before I start, I think all of this is basically just different jargons that work for different companies, and they kind of like interchange in different companies, and they apply to different roles, and it can be tech development or tech industrial, but they still kind of apply to each other. And so I was in both roles because I did do mechanical engineering, and for me to get into software was a new domain, and I was intrigued in the life cycle of what is involved in building something, right? And while I was doing my engineering, I worked with a lot of project managers who were also our clients. I worked myself in a project managerial role, project manager, and I was kind of a product owner when it came to the software. So I saw both sides of this. But it was always my long-term plan to get to doing MBA, kind of my trajectory to try and get into managerial roles and eventually be a CXO person. So yeah, I was kind of having that vision, and Canada was part of the plan. So here I am.
Yeah, they broke streaming.
Before I shamelessly take over the conversation, quick follow-up question. Do you feel like your mechanical engineering technical background helped with your current role?
Yes, for sure. Because right now what we're doing in our company, it's we're kind of making park lifts for cars and bikes. We're trying to get into working with the city, basically. And right now, considering the advent of how fast things are moving, it's they need tech innovation, they need innovation, they need Canadian made, Canadian owned. And so the company is a startup, but they're on the way to finding their unique standpoint from this. So they took me on board from mechanical engineering skills, and also that I'm able to apply this aspect of things.
That's perfect, that makes total sense. And just quickly, one question to the audience is, at least who has heard of Product School? Okay, so there's a few folks. So I'm just gonna give a little bit of an anecdote, and then I'm gonna shift back the attendant list here. Back in 2018, I was also somewhat obsessed with trying to break into product, or at least get into the PM space, right? TPM, product, project, whatever it is. I saw Product School, I saw I think it was like, what, $3,000 or $4,000 tuition, and I was like, oh, this is gonna get me a job. So I joined in, it's a classroom, Saturdays, right, every week for 4 hours. There's a senior PM that just teaches us the fundamentals of what product management is, specifically product, not program or project. I sit down, there's like maybe 10, 15 of us, right, who are all trying to do the same thing. I'm the only student there, everyone else is like a professional with maybe like 5 to 10 years of experience. So we sit down, And the first thing the senior PM, his name's Nimrod, now he's I believe he works at Bench and he's a senior PM. The first thing he said was, you are, like, I cannot guarantee you a job, just please remember that. And I was sitting here like, shoot, what am I doing? So anyways, that's just a quick anecdote because I remember you said product school. So it's one of those things that I wanted to use to transition to my next question, which is certifications. Right, product school offered a certification, the $4,000 piece of paper. With that certification question, I wanted to ask all of you, maybe a round table, right, of whether or not you do have certifications, because I know you have a PMP, I know you've been to product school, but whether or not you feel, and I think you have a PMP too, right? No? Okay, no, I got it completely wrong. But if there are certifications.
That is the kind of understanding that the certification made very pro in saying that, go through the certain chapters. And product school also has an offering which is that at the end of the course you do get to do a capstone project, and that takes you through different stages of what your PO to PM journey would look like. So I do remember there was one chapter dedicated to what does a business model look like. So pick any business today, and from your understanding fill in the blanks on who do you think the partners are, who do you think the value prop of the product is, what do you think the reference score for that would look like from other parties. So these are I would say jargons, but when you're talking to somebody in business in a particular domain, just an understanding on how the high level view looks like or what these terms mean helps. That's what it definitely helped with to get into product knowledge.
So for me, so for PMP certification, you need to show 3 years of PM experience. And so it's the same with her as well. You have to first work to be able to understand what you're studying as well. And I would say these certifications, I'm not sure about them helping land a job, but they do help with understanding at a deeper level of what revolves of all the aspects of what's involved in it. Because whenever you're in a company and you're working in a role, what's going to happen is you're kind of going to be in a single niche, whereas there's an entire aspect of the whole thing out there. So yeah, I would say the certifications and the I would say continuous learning is important. Reading books, listening to podcasts, and that's how you kind of your job is to be who you want to be, and that's what you should focus on. Kind of let the work for itself.
Great points by both of these folks here. For me personally, I don't have a whole lot of certifications. I have a CSM and a CSPO, but I would say certifications never had. You do get to learn a bit, and as Divya mentioned, you get to learn the terminology, the jargons being used. You also get them through Udemy courses. Will it help you land a job? I wouldn't guarantee it. It's very difficult to guarantee it, but it will help you check that box off. When your recruiters look at your resume, does this person have that? Okay, yeah, so check that box. My advice, if you can afford it, it doesn't cost too much, go for it. It won't hurt. It'll only add value to it. But will it help you absolutely guarantee a job? Nothing guarantees you a job. So that's my 2 cents.
And please use your education budget in your current company. Please put it to use.
Yes, absolutely. That's very good advice. If you're already in a company, they do have a budget. So bug your manager hey, I want to get the certification, get it done. They have a budget. Even if they don't advertise it.
Yeah, no, that's a great piece of suggestion right there. Next question. Now, this one's probably a little bit more interesting to me, so I'm maybe a little bit self-centered asking this, but more so kind of, you feel like your current set of skills from your background, right, allows you to become the product or program or the project, and do you feel like you would be a better project, program, or product better than the other PM disciplines? Like, do you feel like you are, for example, Brian, if you're a TPM currently right now, what makes you feel like your skill set allows you to be the best TPM compared to a project, or a product, for example?
What skill set I have that allows me to be good at my role? Is that the question? I would say one of the key skill sets that I have is softer skill set. It's one of the technical ones. I would say it's communication. Because if you look at my day-to-day, I'm in meetings all day, every day, talking to different teams, talking to different stakeholders. So you need to have the patience. You need to have 2 things: communication and active listening. So I would say soft skills play a very important role. Technical skills too, because you need to understand what people are telling you. You need to understand what these issues are, right? But soft skills play a key role, so please focus on that as well. A lot of folks, they focus on the technical skills and they let go of the soft skills, but for these PM roles, any of these PM roles, soft skills is key. That's my two
I think my experience as two different ways allows me to be a better product manager today. Definitely being a QA and because the moment I sit and discuss system design, I generally talk scenarios first and workflow later. The scenario breaking comes very naturally to me because of being in the QA role, and I generally just recognize the pattern faster than anybody who hasn't been in the system for longer, or actually see the bird's eye view of would it fit or wouldn't it. And I think so I started my journey for work as a primary school teacher, and then I got into tech after my education. So I think being a teacher really helped, because one of the things that product management does force you to do is I constantly keep saying this to others as well. It's like singing one song but in different tunes. So it's the same thing that I tell to sales but in a very different way. Same to CSMs, same to my engineering, but the audience is different, so my message is same but it's in a different tone. So so I think my teaching experience also adds up here.
Yeah, I would say this. Basically, she said the same thing as him, but I'm going to say the same thing as well. It's communication. That's basically key. If you're able to articulate what you're trying to say to the different people, get the message across, understand what the person in front is trying to say as well. And I think another would be to make sure that you're able to resolve conflict resolution, and problem solving. Make sure that everyone's happy. If there's any issues, make sure that you're the one who knows the issue before the person in front of you. So communication and being there for the person, and that kind of helps you stand out, and people would like to then work with you and have you as their lead, and I guess I would have leadership skills as well. But you're in the team, so I don't want to put that in. It's difficult. It's very difficult.
Answer is no.
Yeah.
Only Santa can.
I've heard this, but I say this as well now, that you need to know how to kind of play the politics, basically.
There definitely is a little bit of politics, and obviously I think the more euphemism word you want to probably put it to is stakeholder management, right? So, the more happier term for it. But really, there's a lot of politics. Obviously, there's stakeholder management involved within every large organization, right? Maybe in a startup, you're super scrappy, you're doing a lot of different things that's not necessarily within the scope of a PM, but that's more entailing because you're part of a startup, right? But for large, big tech organizations, even mine, which is about 1,000 people, you are kind of working within that scope of a PM. There's going to be a lot of stakeholder management. Your manager's going to be like, hey, can you own this? This is your product. 2 weeks later, it's like, why is this design here? Change it. So there's stuff like that. This is being live streamed. I just completely forgot. I should probably be careful. So, anyways, my last question from myself before I shift some of the questions to the audience really is, because we talked about a lot of the overlapping themes across all the PMs, right? There's stakeholder management, Ariv, you said problem solving, that's great, communication as well. Obviously that technical experience also helps Divya, which I'm sure it does a lot. And from me especially, because I started out as somewhat of a TPM as well when I started my career at Microsoft. Super platform, low-level platform product that was super engineering-driven leadership and engineering-driven product thinking and design thinking was all engineering-driven. So that was super difficult for me, because then you have to ramp up, maybe a little bit of time, ramp up, and I had to explain to people I'm owning this small program that's part of this, that's part of that, that's part of Microsoft Bing. And people, I know it's just too hard to explain to people. So anyways, I digressed. My question to you really is, because of all the overlaps, what is one thing that you know for a fact for each of your disciplines is completely distinct, different from the other disciplines, that you know for a fact is because of your experience? So it's a little bit of a difficult question, but feel free, anyone can just take the mic and try to answer it.
We're gonna make Ariv go first this time. All right, no worries. So with project, I would say, I mean, although Ryan said he loves his role, project has its advantages, I would say, in terms of it being more specific. You know, we know what's expected. I know you had written, because I read what you write, and you had written about the imposter syndrome that you feel. That's a little bit lesser when it comes to project, because you kind of see the result that they're expecting. Sometimes you're building a product that needs to be handed over to a product team, which would then are, I mean, you say that basically it would become operations in a way, but basically their job is to maintain the life cycle, but our job is to just keep the product. So there's a start, there's an end, and it does come with its constraints of a timeline that you need to make sure that you're hitting, and that's what I'd say.
I mean, not a joke, but as a product manager, definitely, you know, customer abusing you is definitely something you will experience way more than a product, like a project or a TPM experiences. And another, you know, a cusp is like, whenever you are up in product management, the first principle thinking is common to all three, but from a product perspective, you're more business. You're like deep into the weeds of why exactly are we doing this for our business? Where is it going to fetch us the money? Like the delivery KPI is one thing, but the business KPI is another. So product to business North Star is like a very tight bundle, and the others don't get to experience it that much.
Thanks, Divya. Yeah, so similar how Divya is focusing on how this product is going to make us money, our focus as a TPM is how we're going to build whatever Divya has imagined up, and that is unique to the TPM role. We focus on the how and the overall program execution. Project managers do play a role, but again, we spoke about in my presentation earlier, it just boils down to scope. Our scope is a little larger than theirs, and we have overall ownership of delivery. So that's how TPM differs from project management versus product.
Thank you. Appreciate all the answers here. I'm going to kind of shift my focus to the audience, and I'm sure some of you probably have a few questions to any of the individuals, so please just let us know who you'd like to ask the question to. So any questions from the audience so far? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have one. So obviously all you guys, it's a question for everyone, so everyone wants.
Pick one.
So the question, everyone uses data, and normally you can, it's not that much, you don't really need you can hide it in AI or something. But do you think of this one, just to compare your solutions and your decisions to something that's
Are you asking how do we use AI?
No. You basically say, you make decisions yourself. It's very well.
Oh, I see. So the question is more so like intuitive decision making ourselves versus using data-driven decision making.
Exactly, but yeah. Yes, I would say this is a good solution.
You do want to make data-driven decisions most of the time. You also do go by gut feel sometimes. Now, gut feels comes, all right, let me tell you this. You have a program, large-scale program, like for example, you want to build a plane. The next thing that all the leadership and stakeholders, everybody wants to know, when is it going to get built? It's not an easy answer. You have 15 different teams involved, right? So you have like estimations, you don't have the previous velocity. You can go by those numbers. Making like high stage, you don't have these blockers, right? So you add a buffer time, right? So that's where your kind of gut feel comes into it, right? And when you give those timelines to your senior management, right? And again, these are C-level people. We're like, yeah, this is what we're expecting. But with a percentage confidence, that percentage confidence for me, and for most PPMs, that goes by gut feel. And I wouldn't say gut feel is the right thing, like based on your previous experience. So that's where it comes in.
Oh yeah, sorry. I just wanted before you. I just actually had a perfect example just thinking in my head. So back when I was at Microsoft, I know you've never used Bing. I'm not going to even ask. But if I was one of the PMs for the platform stuff for Bing, and we had this thing called Microsoft Copilot, Bing Copilot, right? So one of the things that we were trying to ship was this like transformer model, right? That was supposed to filter out bad content, such that the answers you would get out of Bing, Microsoft Bing engineering resources to do it. So right, so you have to make that conscious decision on where you draw that line between just gut feel it and move fast and fail fast versus like I want to spend more time user researching. So that's my answer there.
I mean, in product, what you build is a business decision, but the business decision is also based on, a lot of analysis. Like, we do market competitive analysis, like, who our competitors are, where the industry is moving, which direction we should be looking at. So definitely that has data into it, but, what insight you derive out of the data and which direction you want to pick is equally important. So, like, my analysis could say, yeah, there are 3 different things I could be looking at, but which one do I want to pick? Again, gut feeling. Because we have seen the pattern too many times, and like the team believes or the leadership believes that this would be the best bet. So it's about this. And yeah, you can manage risk but not eliminate it. So you just take a pick and then move on.
Yeah, I would say also when it comes to data that you kind of rely on what you've experienced. So you're using your own, and also one thing that she missed out on was personas as well. It's important, so you make sure you use that in making your decisions. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that
I just want to end by saying, if you get asked this in an interview, say I always make data-driven decisions. do not use gut feel. It's true.
That's what I also think about. It would be really nice if there is some independent solution that's presented. So what is your gut feel? And I mean, you can go, but then there is something else that you can compare it against. And AI can make this example. But maybe there is another person with similar experience around with an application. So comparing this and then seeing which one works better is cool. And I would say if you get the same from somewhere and specifically.
I think what you're actually getting there is that second perspective. What people with experience can provide that, supportive insight, qualitative insight, to see whether or not it's really a good decision or not. But then there's this other thing, kind of what I just call like, it's just a baseline, right? Just like looking at historical data, decision making, relative direction to what you're trying to make or what decision you're trying to make, and then calling that the baseline, and then whether or not that baseline made sense to grow the business and whether or not you should do that same thing this time. So just something similar. Question? Oh, sorry. I think with the person in the back. Yeah, you raised your hand first. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so one of the points that was made was that, like, depending on the company, your role and responsibilities can vary a bit. Do you feel, and it's questions kind of for everyone, do you feel there's anything about your current role that's specific to the company that you're working in that might not translate into another company?
Question was like, is there a specific role or responsibility set that you feel like is more pertaining to your current job and might not be as translated really well to another organizations, maybe because methodologies, best practices, culture, or just technology, right? This is a good question.
Sorry, I'm looking hard.
So I think right now my company is in the growth phase, and like more often than not, I do get to handle enterprise customers, which I have to then sit down with CSMs and sales and like figure out what the best strategy with them is, because we might not have everything with their offering is. If I move on to a bigger company, I might not be doing this. Like I would be more on just strategy and working with the POs, assembling everything and not bothering about this. So this I might not carry forward.
So I work as a senior TPM at HPD, so it's a large tech company. If I want to find other positions, they are in other tech companies, you find to a TPM position, so that's not an issue. If maybe I switch disciplines from tech to something else, I will have transferable skills. The role may be close something different. Like for example, what do I do right now? I own the delivery of the product, and I have to lead 10 to 15 different scrum teams. So maybe if I join a smaller company, and the role may be completely different, it might be more people lead a role, but the skill sets remain the same. So you just focus on the core set of skill sets that you have, and you can always find transferable skills. I hope that answers the questions, did it?
I've been all of these roles in smaller companies, and some of the descriptions of what you kind of say that you do, like I have done all of them,
Okay.
either under the same title or under a different title.
Right.
So my experience is all startup. So
Okay.
I'm just kind of wondering from like a bigger company experience, like what would be a differentiator, or if there is a differentiator from that
So
perspective.
startups, I would imagine you have to wear many hats, right? And for larger scale company, processes are more well defined. If it's not a new team, it's a seasoned team, you're gonna jumping on. The product may also be well defined. They might add on new features to it, right? And the processes that they have, they're very well defined, so you don't have to worry about that. Their tech stack is there. Everything. I think it'll be a simpler transition for you.
So I haven't really worked in a large scale company, but from the knowledge that I've gained, the little bit that I can say is that it kind of applies to small as well, but basically when you join a company, I don't think the first thing that you want to do is action, so you're kind of observing. So you're observing, you're seeing how things are, because it's always transferable. Whatever you have, you can find a place where you can apply what you've done. So you're observing, and then the other thing is you would ask your managers what their pain points are. So what's wrong right now? What do you want to fix? What are you looking to improve? What do you expect of me? And then see what fits best. And maybe you see something that you don't know, and you can pick up that by learning as well, and apply it. Say, tell your manager, hey, I kind of learned this, and now I want to apply it. So.
And yeah, sorry, you had a question too, Jan.
I had a question, almost forgot about. So my question to all three of you is, what do you feel is most difficult in your role right now? Like, what are the difficult things that you're encountering now? What are your pain points?
He's already laughing because he already knows there's going to be a million things he wants to say.
It's being recorded. This is not an HP where I work at, but usually in a TPM role, like I mentioned, you are leading multiple teams, and most of the time these teams are not the same time zone. In multiple different time zones, we have teams in IST, teams in Eastern Time, we have teams in China or Hong Kong, and you have to lead these teams and coordinate them. So work-life balance can be a bit challenging at times, depending on where these multiple teams are based out of. So that's something to look out for. Project, on the other hand, you know your team, they're usually in the same location, usually in the same zone. You do have upstream and downstream dependencies, and those teams can be everywhere else, but you don't have to frequently coordinate with them, right? So work-life balance can be a bit challenging in a big tech company.
In product, my biggest challenge right now is convincing engineering that, what is the definition of enough? How much do we know equally enough to get started? We know we will not know it all, but we'll reach a point where, if you get blocked, we'll have information to unblock you, but we can't start by knowing everything. So just that state of readiness, I think, is the biggest challenge, because there will be endless questions. Like, we can take the readiness process to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, let it, poke as many holes as we can, but we have to define enough to get started.
Me, I'm in a really startup. So when they say many hats, I think my boss wants me to wear all hats. So yeah, it's for me right now, it's because I'm just in a startup. So it's a lot of different responsibilities and roles, and I hope eventually it becomes more streamlined. So that's the challenge that I'm facing right now.
I have a follow-up to what Divya said. Pretty much what Casey said earlier. And I face those challenges as well, but what I told the team is like, hey, it doesn't matter if you got it wrong, we don't have to figure everything out. If you fail fast, learn from it, and that's one direction. And I hope that helps you try out with the engineering team.
So generally, when we get started, it's so we have a round of like product specification and then a technical specification, and then we start. So the technical specification has to be deep enough so that when we slice our work to get it done, it has like a demoable piece. So like we generally think in a way that, okay, after a while, what are the parts that we could demo and get by? So when we get to that, that's when things get a little tricky, because they're like, okay, we don't know where the ending tail is. Like, you know, it will keep adding there because we'll keep encountering problems. So we need to like have a definitive margin, give us a proper scope. Like we will get to the ender bits as well, but after a point of delivery. And then defining when that finish line is and when the start line is.
That's where you define the MVP, right? So MVP is what you define, that's what we'll demo, the minimum viable product, and then we'll iterate on that, and every iteration will be another different. That's how I would do it.
I just wanted, sorry if you don't mind me answering your question too, because I feel like I have a more subjective answer to yours. So I actually came to an epiphany the other day when basically my engineers, they didn't necessarily call me out, but during our weekly sprint retro, when we talked about what could have gone better, they didn't necessarily call me out, but they said like, we noticed like your epics are not as detailed as they used to be on this week, for example. And we wish that, for example, we didn't have to break down the stories and then chase after you to figure out what this gap is, right? Like what this piece of detail is that you could have just captured in the epic that you wrote. And honestly, that's when I thought to myself, like, because for me personally, and I'm sure for you guys as well, is there's a million moving pieces all the time. So for example, like I have to run this webinar thing, I have to talk to marketing to catch them up on what we're selling so that they know how to write the next blog about it. I have to, for example, talk to like maybe 5 or 6 customers per week, different time zones as well, which is a bit of an issue. So I have to get up at like 6:30 a.m. For like London, and then Australia is like a whole different thing. That type of stuff, and then translating those requirements to like a massive backlog, managing that, and then turning those into epics. And because there's like a million these moving, and there's obviously like leadership is going to come to you like, hey, when is this PowerPoint ready for our weekly or bi-weekly or monthly review of stuff like QPRs and everything else, right? There's all these moving pieces all the time because it's a business, at least a medium size, and I'm sure even small and big as well, to the point where sometimes it's so hard to organize everything. So like like obviously it's not an excuse, that kind of does sound like an excuse, right? But my reasoning is like, I think there's so many moving pieces, and because there's a lot of people to make happy and there's a lot of stakeholder management involved, that's when I realized, oh, okay, I need to manage my time better and prioritize, otherwise these epics are not going to be better quality, right? Because that's part of my role. So anyways, that's kind of what I've learned recently after a heart-to-heart conversation with my developers. Go ahead.
I want to know, one question. I want to know how do you measure your KPIs, mostly the KPIs that related to product success, and imagine that you have a product that you build different features for that, and each feature has some contribution to that success. I want to know how do you measure each success in every KPI. It is not easy for me to do that. I want to know is there any way?
So again, that differs from program to program, right? KPIs will always not be the same. What I can say would be a standard across all programs is how many features am I shipping and delivering to the customers, right? And success for me is like if I ship it and it works well with minimal amount of bugs, right? So that's another metric that is coming, like the level of bugs. But yeah, most common metrics that I see across all these programs is the features I'm delivering and how bug-free they are. These are the 2 common ones that come to the top of my mind right now.
I want to add something to that. For example, for me, getting more user is a success. And I want to know which feature I contribute more to getting this.
So for that, I'm going to hand that over to my product manager because I really care about just delivering it. How many people are using it, if the customers are adopting it. That's Divya's problem. Divya?
Okay, so